All right, good first day. Obviously a lot of new faces, but I thought the guys really did a nice job of understanding the structure of what we want practice to look like. I thought there was great speed, energy, be able to move around from place to place. I thought the coaches did a good job of preparing the players and what to expect. And obviously new installation. We've tried to maximize the walkthrough time, the meeting time that we've had leading up to this, and I thought the guys did a good job of being able to for that to translate out to the field. Really being the first day that we're able to go out there and go, full speed with a football and being able to work on the rhythm, the timing. I thought our guys did a nice job, in the winter program of being able to do that. I thought there was, clean for the most part, in just the ability of throwing and catching. There were some good plays that were made out there. I thought that the defensive guys moved around quick. And, I thought there's definitely some explosive movements. Had a couple of great plays on the ball that showed up. There in the defensive backfield. It was good seeing guys. Like Jaylin Lucas got obviously his first reps back and showed speed, explosiveness. I thought was impressive. I thought the quarterbacks did a nice job. On our first day, like I mentioned earlier, defensive front moved well. Obviously you're just in helmets, so there's some limitations when you see on the just the physicality of what's going to be there. But just trying to did a lot of work separately. Just trying to get techniques and fundamentals, that foundation set on day one. But I thought it was a good day. I thought there was a lot of things that we'll be able to build upon, in the next 14 practices. And so I thought we'll take some questions.
All right. I know you can never tell with injuries, timelines, but is Jaylin kind of further ahead than you guys would have hoped?
Yeah, there was some uncertainty if that's exactly what it looked like. He got some work in tour duty, which, was, I'd say accelerated, but he's busted his tail to get back, be able to put himself in a position. Like I felt very confident what today would look like, just because of the work I saw in tour duty. And he's been, he really attacked, his rehab throughout the course of the season. To be able to show what he showed today, and what he's shown throughout this back part of the winter program is really impressive. And we're gonna be smart with him still, just overall workload and things like that as he does return. But it was definitely great to see him back out there.
With Jaylin, is he, I guess with a different scheme, I know you can move him around anyways, but is he someone like more slot now? Is he still primarily running back? How do you foresee his?
Yeah, he's a great athlete. He can really do it all. And, that's Coach Malzahn. He had a great track record of utilizing playmakers in a variety of different places and what they can do. And he's definitely a great playmaker.
Chris,
is there anything different to how you're operating practice in relation to what you've done in years past?
There's some subtle and I would say distinct changes just in what certain things that we want to see or emphasize. But as a big picture whole, it's I thought that was one of the things I was pleased with today is just the overall tempo and push, which we're working to make sure that the urgency and how we play and how we communicate obviously is critical. And I thought our guys did a good job of attacking that. So there's some dynamics that are different, but big picture mentality is definitely mentality and overall structure is the same.
Jordan,
you mentioned the defensive backfield made some plays today. Can you talk about who in particular, and also who's kind of been leading that room with Shy being out right now, like you mentioned the other day?
Yeah, I thought I saw Jabril Rawls had a really nice play. I think it was a 7-on-7 interception. Did a great job there. There was one tip pass, interception. You're seeing guys rally to the ball. That showed up. I think Earl Little flashed. I really liked what I saw from just the speed back there. Edwin Joseph has had a great spring, winter program going into spring. So those guys are competing. They're all working. I think Ricky Knight had a good play today, and just seeing it. I mean, so there's a lot of competition, you know, and, you know, I was pleased with the way that carried over really on both sides, you know, of the competitiveness and, you know, some of the plays the receivers made. You know, I saw, you know, some of the young receivers really, you know, push to establish themselves and, you know, to show that, you know, they were ready and they belonged, and it was real positive.
Almost following up on that, like the young receivers and the young players, how have you seen them kind of mature into their bodies, adding weight after a year of experience and now kind of trying to make this their own?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I mean, they've done a great job. You know, I think you've seen guys like Lawayne and Elijah. And, you know, obviously BJ wasn't out today, but you know, Makai Danzy was. So he got some work, and you know, it was really good to see just you know, their progression of, you know, body control, you know, strength movements. You know, I really liked what I saw. You know, in the freshmen. You know, it was also, you came to Friar, got out there and got some work. You know, had a couple good plays. You know, that was positive to see. And then you know, the true freshmen, the guys that are the high school seniors, you know, Boggs, Kelsey. I mean, you know, it was good to see them out there getting, you know, quality reps and you know, doing a good job with them.
Corey?
From your perspective, with a practice with so many new coaches, obviously you trust them or they wouldn't be here, and you've worked with Gus before, but are you watching, like, you don't know how somebody's gonna be their first practice until you watch them coach and you're on the field with them. What was that like, and were you paying a little more attention than you
Yeah,
were?
absolutely. And you know, that was one of the things that, you know, we spent a good amount of time in preparation of expectation, and you know, what we wanted to look like, you know, what we wanted to be. You know, everybody's done things different ways, and they all come from different places. But you know, there's a certain way that we want it to look, and that we know that works. And you know, obviously, you're seeing the coach's approach, and you know, obviously, you know, there's some changes, like I mentioned earlier, to things that we've done to be able to fit the dynamic of what we're doing. And so, I was pleased with the coaches today, and yeah, but I'm absolutely watching all parts of it, making sure that you know the things that we're emphasizing, saying that what needs to happen, that they are happening. And you know, it's a full team accountability. Myself, you know, all the assistants and you know, the players, to make sure that you know, it looks and feels a certain way. And you know, I thought it was a good start. You know, there'll be some things that we definitely need to clean up going into day two, now that we kind of have a better sense of what it looked like, you know, live, and you know, we'll get better as we get out there tomorrow.
Kurt?
Like in a few other positions, you brought in guys like Deuce and Squirrel in the receiver room for, I mean, the proven production, I'm sure the leadership a little bit as well. I guess, how have you seen them rise to the occasion of all you wanted in the meeting room, in tour duty, and today in the first practice?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are workers, and I think the mentality that they bring, you know, it is, you know, I've talked a lot in this offseason about edge, you know, desperation. Like, I mean, these are guys that want to be coached, they want to be pushed, they want to be that inspiration, and you know, challenged, you know, to challenge others, to be challenged themselves. And you know, I had a couple good coachable moments even with those guys, just about, you know, response. You know, there was a drop pass today that was, you know, one that, you know, we can't have, and you know, the response was of frustration, and you know, I got to immediately address, and then, you know, see the correction. Coach Harris did a great job with the young man, and then the very next time he was out there, I was probably as good of a contested catch that you could possibly have. And those are the moments that you just want to be able to build upon, because that's, life's going to happen when you go against great people and guys. I mean, you're going to have good and bad moments, and you know, sometimes you're going to hit the expectation of what you want it to be, and sometimes you're not. And you know, but you still get to be in control of where you let your mind go in that moment. And that is what, for me, that's what leadership is. That's where, you know, when bad things can happen, you're there to continuing to push, to believe, to be willing to go make that next play. And you know, that's those are things I like seeing from, you know, a lot of these guys that have come in. Is, you know, they're bringing an edge to the willingness to be an example, even when it doesn't necessarily go the way you wanted. You know, from the maybe in the moment.
Could you describe just the relationship between Brock and Tommy and that and then the younger guys, in terms of, you know, Brock's been through this before with an older guy coming in and still competing, and then Tommy's kind of starting over, but He's played so much football.
Yeah, no, it's a great dynamic, and it's one that is competitive, and that's what both of those guys are great competitors, and I've really been pleased. Kevin Sperry went out, his first 7-on-7 set. I think he went 4 for 4, and just, impressive to see. Just you hit the ground and going. So I mean, that's a group that I'm excited to see the competition, just because of the personalities that those guys have, but they are. They're great young men. They care about who they're getting to do it with, but they are sparks. Like they want to. It's not just their position group. They want to. I heard the coaching, the encouragement, the challenge to other positions there today, and you felt their personality, and that's something I think is really important. But you get to, through the good and the bad, you get to go put it on display with what you're doing with your reps, and seeing those guys encourage each other, but also the challenge for it to look a certain way, and what we want this offense to be.
Brendan, what did you see from Cam Davis through the offseason? I guess what did you see from him develop this point? He had some injuries and stuff.
Yeah, Cam came in. He was able to play as a freshman. He's such a physically developed young man. But really one of the things I challenge him with is making sure that any of the excess that we trim, and that was a big part of it. When you look at his body, his body composition, I think he's done a good job of him, Roydell, of those guys, really having that as a big emphasis, and to see the explosiveness. He had a couple nice plays there today, just in his movements, but he's one that challenged to go take a step, and you're gonna have to battle through the good and bad moments. At times your body feels good, sometimes your body's not, and I thought that he was able to display toughness through challenges as a true freshman, but now he knows what to expect, and he's put a lot of work into his body to go be in the best position to take that step, and I think that's going to open the door for him in a lot of ways, but we get to go do it.
All right, we're going to go 2 more, Corey and Kurt.
With obviously it's your team, it's your offense, but Gus is the coordinator. I guess early on, one practice in, what is that dynamic like? Is that still a feeling out process as far as how involved you are or aren't, or want to micromanage or not micromanage?
Oh, I got the best. I said it the other day. I think I got the best offensive coordinator in college football. I'm here to make sure that we put our guys in the best position to be successful players, coaches, everybody involved, and I'm also know what it's supposed to look like, and I know what I want for this team, and to be able to have guys like Gus and Tony, and the leaders that they are, the minds that they have. It is, it's we say it's my team, it's our team. It's like this is the group that we put together to be able to go, push forward, make Florida State the best it can possibly be. And I'm very excited about what that dynamic is going to play out as, and even just seeing the preparation of what we had to do for a day one with 35 new players and all of it of what that looks like. We had 16 high school, I think it was 15 or 16 high school seniors that are out there, and for those guys to be making plays in today's practice, for them to be moving with a certain purpose and understanding. I like that, and they put in a lot of work, and obviously our coaches they know what to expect, and it's just about the consistency of building upon that every day. But I'm excited to see where the whole team dynamic is going to continue to push for us to be our best.
I know Coach White is someone you hadn't worked with before, bringing him on here. I guess in your couple months, how would you describe his demeanor, and what do you think he's brought to that side of the ball even before taking the field for the first practice today?
He's got a great personality. He's there's times where he's really low key, and obviously I'm trying to think of the word I want to use, but he's chilled. He's got great relationships. He's able to cut loose and just enjoy the time with the guys and the staff, and you've got a relaxed spirit about him at times, and then he knows how to flip a switch, and I think the guys would agree with that. That I mean, he brings an edge, and I love watching him coach. I love the passion which he brings. Expectation and standard is something that is critical, but it's inspiration to that standard. And being able to inspire guys to push themselves harder than what they even think they can push. And so, I like his personality. I think our guys respect the way he comes to work, and we get to continue to build upon that.
Thank you, Coach.
All right,